And welcome back, fellow fiends, to Let's Play Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. We are back at the entrance of the Labyrinth of Amala, and I need to work my way back to the second Kalpa, and we are going to collect the rest of the treasure that lies therein. This is just going to be a quick and dirty supercut of the various locations. I will find the treasure, and then point out where it is on the map, so let's get to it. Alright, starting off our treasure hunt here, we have this mystic chest. Inside, once it is full Kagetsuchi, we have bead chain. Now, one thing I'd like to draw attention to before we get to the next treasure is that, ideally I'd like to be level 37 at this point in the game, but I'm not going to explicitly grind for that if I can't reach it. But level 37 is the level you need to be to fuse Daisojo, and in the very near future, he will be extremely useful to have around. Just for the resistances that he conveys to your party. So I would like that. I'm not going to explicitly grind for it, and I can't guarantee I'll run into enough enemies to hit that. But I'll definitely be at that point by the end of Kabukicho, so, you know, just one thing. Now to the next treasure. Alright, our next treasure is just a standard cube here. We get a bead, very handy. I actually did not point out where the treasure was. Just going through the moon door from the central area, it's the door immediately to your right when you enter, and of course, then we take the path to the left, we are at the next treasure. Alright, I will meet you at the next point of interest. Now, just another thing I'd like to point out, since we didn't really get a chance to, here is a member of the Messian cult, talking about their conflict with the Gaian cult, and it looks like they also ran afoul of Hikawa, which is something that the old man, or rather his matron, alluded to. Alright, meet you at the next treasure. Alright, our next treasure is in the southwestern side of the maze. Let's just open this up. And we get a Deikaja rock. These will actually come in handy in the near future, though I have a more reasonable alternative that I will likely use for the situation that I'm thinking of. Still, it never hurts to have these. If you find a situation in a random battle where you could just use these to good effect, go nuts. Alright, our next treasure, more to the northwestern side of the second Kalpa. Let's open this up. Get a magic mirror. Always nice to have those. Can save you in some pretty nasty situations if you know when to use them. Alright, for the next batch of treasure we actually need to go down into B3. So, well, actually, there is some stuff in B2 to grab. Whatever I decide to grab next, I'll meet you there. Alright, here we are in the southwestern pit room that you can reach from B1. And here is a demon over here. Oh man, Beiji Wang, I think this guy's name is. Sure, tell me. I'd love to hear interesting things. Well, that's just your opinion, although I guess I can't completely disagree either. Anyway, he's not the important thing here. You may notice that the wall is a little wavy, and over here we get another treasure. What awaits us in this treasure? A Death Stone, which now means we actually have more than we can use for the number of fiends we've actually defeated at this point, but always good to have a surplus for when we defeat new fiends. And there is another way to access this. One of the exits out of B3 will actually take you beyond a one-way door that leads back to this area, but we can also get to this area just by dropping down from B1, so that's what I decided to do just to get it out of the way. Meet you at the next treasure. Alright, here we are at the next and actually final treasure for B2. In here we get a Repulse Bell, which is just a item version of Estoma, which we can use infinitely with Pisaka at our disposal, so not really that important to me. But hey, I can sell it for money. You know, I wanted to actually get some levels here, but with all the treasures I've collected, I've only gotten one encounter. I'm using Estoma to block out the useless encounters that won't give me much to begin with, but I have not been having good luck with running into stuff like Black Oozes or Phantoms on the first floor, so not too much experience has been reaped yet. Meet you at the next treasure. Alright, here we are at the next treasure in B3, and judging by what I'm seeing on the map, this might actually be the last one. Well, we'll see. Regardless, what is in this chest is a Soma, which I will most likely sell for money. Go me. Alright, I'm gonna look around and see if there's any more treasure, but I honestly think this might be the last thing. So I'll see you in a bit if it is. We'll just meet up outside of the second Kalpa. Alright, so here we are in Shibuya. That mystic chest was indeed the last treasure there was to get in the second Kalpa, which was kind of surprising to me. I did not get into nearly the amount of encounters I expected to. Usually, the higher-leveled enemies are much more aggressive when I go through there, but that is not something we had to worry about, I suppose. Honestly, kind of to my detriment, because I would have liked to be able to fuse Daisojo right now, but I also want to get through this without really doing too much level grinding, because I feel like that doesn't give much help in actually showing how you can beat this game without having to get absurd amounts of stats to try and defeat everything. Hey there, mannequin guy. Yeah, this guy just replaces every store, save for one much later in the game. Not really sure what happened to... Well, actually, I do know what happened to the Jack Frost who used to be here, but that's not important at the moment. We are going to sell this because before we return to Kabukicho, there is one demon that I would like to fuse, and while I could recruit these demons relatively easily, for the sake of time, we're just going to buy them out of the compendium. We want to get, and if I can find them relatively quickly here, we want a beast-type demon, we want Nekomata, and then we want a foul-type demon, specifically one that is over level 15 ideally, which of course we have Blob for that. We are going to fuse these two together, and what is going to be the resultant demon from that? Why, it's going to be Raiju. Raiju will be very handy to us because he can absorb electrical attacks, and Raijus are going to be in the encounter pool for Kabukicho Prison, so it'll be handy to have him around in case they decide to shock my party to death, because of course our Habaki is here, he's weak to that, and otherwise he could, Raiju could just absorb shock, and end their turns. I don't have to worry about getting killed by Raiju shocking me repeatedly. That is a good skill set right there. No, that is what I wanted. Thankfully, you only reshuffle the skills if you fully cancel the fusion. So yeah, we've got Raiju now at our disposal. We'll put Karasu on bench warming duty at the moment. He still has Watchful, so he's still getting EXP drip-fed to him if he's in the reserve. Another unfortunate side effect of not getting enough experience from the Labyrinth of Amala is that Kikura Hime also did not really get any levels, so that means she is not getting any closer to the skill I want on her. But that is what it is. Now, unlike the Labyrinth of Amala, which really did not work out like I had hoped, the dungeon that we're going to go to after Kabukicho Prison should generally be better about this. Speaking of encounters that I don't really want to get into, we will be throwing up Estoma as we go through Kabukicho, which may reduce the amount of encounters I'm getting into that'll actually, give me tangible benefits, depending on if the enemies are on the lower amount of the level curve relative to us at the moment. But there's also a bunch of just really weak, worthless encounters in Kabukicho Prison, which is a weird, persistent problem throughout the game because it has a fairly limited demon roster. I think it's 183 demons in this game. Much, much shallower pool compared to, the 400-plus demons a lot of the more modern games have. So, yeah, I got everybody I need. I think Estoma is still in effect, and it is, so let's get to it. So, last time we defeated a Naga, and he gave us an item that should allow us to interact with that bizarre wall, and that will allow us to progress further into Kabukicho Prison. Use the Mugi Stone, I forgot the name of the item, and the building begins to be shrouded in a mirage. Now, you might hear some shuffling noises real quick. I'm going to move my microphone so it's a bit more conveniently located. Sorry if that blew out your eardrums. You know microphones, they can get very weird if you move them at all in the midst of recording. But now that we have shrouded the building within the mirage, we get a better look of what this prison is actually like. And we want to get the rappel up, just in case we get into an encounter with, 5 Pretas, because that is an encounter you can get into, it's so silly. And mannequins lamenting their lot in life, and it's hard not to agree with them, because, geez, just look at this. But yes, the mannequins are being held within the mirage and just tortured relentlessly. Now that we are in the Mirage, you maybe noticed we are having a feeling and dancing on the ceiling, so now the entire building is inverted, and when we climb down, we're actually going up. This allows us to access areas that are blocked off by debris, because in the grand video game tradition, the Demi-Fiend will not move this junk out of his way or attempt to climb over it. And that guy just wants to be left alone. There are tons of mannequins in here. Some of them have repeated dialogue. Well, most of them have repeated dialogue, but some of them say some unique things. We're looking for a specific mannequin to set a dialogue trigger that will actually allow us to advance with what we need to do in this dungeon. And this is actually a demon that would be interesting to recruit. Let's just see if he likes that. I was hoping he'd join me there. I've noticed that, like, demons like Fowls and Haunts, they're incredibly likely to join you off of stuff like that. But basically any more sapient or coherent demon, they typically do not join you that easily, though some do. One thing to watch out for, Mizuchi, he nullifies ice, which you could probably guess just by looking at him, but he also drains electricity, which is pretty nasty, actually, and that's a pretty good sweep of resistances to have for such a simplistic demon. Of course, he's weak to fire. We specialize in that, so he is no big deal for us. Now, Mizuchi is actually an evolving demon, so it may be worth it to try and recruit him, just so you can evolve him into the thing that he becomes later, though, funnily enough, Mizuchi, upon evolution, he actually loses his electricity draining attribute and becomes much more simplistic in terms of defenses, which actually means the evolved demon, purely for defensive purposes. Hey, Jack Frost. This is what I was talking about when I said I knew what happened to Jack Frost. This is a guy, you could run into him at the Mantra headquarters, and now he's here. He's just looking to become stronger, and that is his ongoing mini-arc throughout the story. Let's see. Are we going to get into an encounter here? There are quite a few enemies that you can actually encounter here that are new. Among them, actually, we can encounter Pisaka for the first time for real. Of course, he's a haunt, so we cannot just recruit him directly. Now this... Well, I mean, have we seen Raiju? Well, if we haven't, here is Raiju. May as well just keep the commentary train going. But the little cell that I stopped in front of, this is the one that we need to stop at to actually get the dialogue trigger. Actually, Naga is also an evolving demon. They evolve into Raja Naga. However, Raja Naga is also a demon that you can encounter in random encounters later in the game, so it is not necessary to evolve a Naga to recruit them or get them in the compendium, if you so desire to have them. Matador levels up here and learns Dekunda. Dekunda purges all debuffs on your party. Very useful if you get ambushed by stuff that, like, just dumps Warcry on you. Especially because Matador is one of the fastest demons in the game, so we can always get that off before you begin your offense. And what is this guy up to? Looks like he's trying to Shawshank his way through the floor. Unfortunately, because we broke his concentration, he hit a really raw section of the spoon, I suppose, and it broke. Another spoon? Hey, the collector mannequin. It's been a while since we did something for that guy. Maybe he considers that he still owes us, and we can get a spoon from him. So yes, you need to talk to this guy to know that you need a spoon, and that allows us to talk to the collector mannequin when we find him. Yes, as this guy says, he is on a floor below this. But we don't want to actually go back down at the moment. So you may have noticed that there was another wall there. If we interact with this wall... the Mirage will begin to disappear. Yes, it takes a while for that to happen. And we are back, once again, in the regular Kabukicho prison. You may have noticed there was a hole on the ceiling. Now it's a hole on the floor. And if we jump through this, we of course get dropped in front of a ladder, but we don't want to hit that just yet. It's not exactly clear that you can do this, but there's a switch right here that will bring up the shutter. Now, if we enter the Mirage, we can actually go over that junk that's in our way. Once again, the Demi-Fiend will not just move that stuff or actually walk over it or anything. That is beneath him. How dare you insinuate he should do something like that? And yes, we've opened up these shutters. And now, once we re-enter the Mirage world, we can access more sections of the prison in the Mirage. Conveniently for us, there is actually a mysterious wall here for us to immediately go back into the Mirage, so let's use the Umugi Stone here. And let's go through that pathway that we actually just opened up by opening the shutters. Let me see here. Is it this way that we wanted to go? This doesn't seem right, actually. Yeah, this is just a dead end. I'm already lost my way here. Great. Yeah, this is, it is actually pretty easy to get lost in here, despite how small it is, just because you get really disoriented going through the Mirage. Let me see here. Okay, no, I'm actually, I really forget which way I want to go again. Okay, I think we actually have to go down here. We opened a shutter, it's not that one. So we'll just go past that. Let me see, not that shutter. And let's go through this way. Let me see. Let me just look at the walls here. Did we open a shutter here? Yes, okay. And let me see. Just to make sure I'm doing this right, I believe we want to drop through this hole. Now that we are here... no, I don't think that was correct. Oh, geez, I'm completely lost. Let me think for a moment here. You know what, I'll just find the way and cut to when I get there. You know what I did wrong? I went down the hole when I'm supposed to go up the ladder. If you've ever followed my videos, you probably realize at this point that I am not very bright. I make stupid mistakes like that all the time. I can't believe I did that. But anyways, we're at the collector mannequin. And he still considers that he owes us for the bill, as I said. And he gives us a spoon. I'm not exactly sure how he reached it to hand it to us, but, don't worry, buddy. We plan to rescue you. Oh, I was hoping that would be Pisaka. Well, since I'm already talking, I may as well just keep going. Hey, lucky dodge. So, got a couple levels going here. Demi-Fiend got to level 34, so he's got more magic to rock. A pretty solid magic score of 14 at this point. Fire boost, you see that Fire Breath does really excellent damage. We will actually be... Oh, come on. Oh, is this guy gonna beg for mercy? Yeah, that's more money than we'd get if we killed him. I miss out on the experience, but I'll take that. I was kind of hoping he'd join us, honestly, just so I'd get that little bit of compendium completion, but it's not critical. Now we can jump through a hole in the floor here, and let me see. We want to go up a little bit more, so let's just wrap back around and get back to that mannequin who took the spoon from us, or wants the spoon from us. Man, I can't believe I did that. I felt so dumb when I recognized what I did. Anyway, let's, this is actually a pretty dangerous demon here. Yaxini, if she's alone, she will use, I think it's Dragon's Eye she actually uses. She's weak to elect skills if you have those at your disposal, which fortunately we do via Raiju. Actually did have an encounter where his electrical resistance came in with the save, got ambushed by an encounter with a Mizuchi and 3 Raijus. Yeah, as long as he can tank the shocks for me, Kamudo will protect me from the physical attacks those things can use. And let us hand off the spoon. It is a powerful spoon. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole. This is Omega digging spoon power. And with that, the mannequin jumps through his hole, but then he comes to a horrible realization. Well, we'll get to that when we actually get to that. But now that the hole has been dug in this world, the hole will be reflected in the real world, and that'll give us a different way to get to a different section in the real world version of Kabukicho Prison. You can mess around and explore the real world of Kabukicho for a bit and just find that you run into a bunch of dead ends. So I just figured, let's get right into the Mirage, not even pretend like there's anything interesting to see. There's literally just a bunch of rooms that if you enter them, they say there's no one here. But as soon as we enter here, haha, he realizes that he's still trapped in the mirage, so he cannot actually escape. So that is a dead end, but we can get into a stairwell over here and get up to the next floor, and of course this will put us behind a shutter that we can open. Not that we particularly need to do anything with the path that opens up for us at the moment, but it is convenient to get it ready right now. So we may as well hit that switch as we are passing by. Now, heading over this way, we find a ladder that will take us up to the mysterious 5th floor that we actually have not been able to access at this moment. Access until this moment, rather. I always get my words mixed up when I'm talking too fast. And we've got, sounds like a lot more torture going on, but we can't actually do anything here. Well, that is because we actually need to get through here in the mirage, and we couldn't actually reach here until we had opened up that shutter. Now that we have, we can get to the 5th floor in the mirage world and actually defeat the owner of this place, which we've heard about in the dialogue. The mannequin mentioned that this place is owned by a Mizuchi, a more powerful one than the ones we've been fighting in random encounters. You know, I'm used to boss enemies in RPGs being demoted to regular enemies later in the game, or getting palette swapped into regular enemies later in the game. This is actually the only game I can think of offhand where the boss enemy is fought as a regular enemy before you actually fight that boss, and it's so weird to me. It is a good thing that I didn't interrupt my thought here, because here are Pisakas. These guys are weak to fire, and it's pretty effective against them. They're not terribly interesting otherwise. Though, like the Pisaka that I have, they can drain your MP, and it is rather annoying if they do so. Yeah, Life Drain is actually remarkably powerful, and that's an almighty skill, so it works on anything. That is actually the reason they turned it into a mute skill. Not so much that it would make it less annoying for the player, but because it's just so powerful in the player's hand that you could stall out a lot of bosses by draining their MP with skills like Meditation and Life Drain. And I guess they felt that was too cheesy for their liking, so they nerfed that strategy by making it something bosses would be immune to by default. But on the bright side, the player can also make themselves immune to it, so I guess it balances out like that. Now, we actually, as soon as we enter the room at the end of this hallway, we will be thrust into a boss fight. Of course, we get interrupted by mannequins before we can enter there. I see them. Alright, we can do that. But yes, we have reached the location of Futomimi, who is the mannequin prophet. So, let's get ourselves set up. Now, it is very critical that we actually equip the Iomante Magatama on the Demi-Fiend. This is because Mizuchi, he is an ice elemental creature, but he actually has a very nasty ailment skill. We want to be immune to that. Let me see, I'm just going to use a Chakra Pot to get my MP topped off here. We don't need Raiju for this fight, so I'm going to return to the stock and bring in the much stronger Karasu. And let me see here, everybody's topped off on HP. Now fortunately, let me get my notes up just to confirm this. Mizuchi, yeah, it doesn't look like he has access to any kind of buff clears or debuff clears, so we don't really need to worry about that. And let me just get stock of the skills I'll have at my disposal for this fight. Let's see, we'll have Terrakaja, we'll have Sukakaja, we'll have Makakaja. That's some pretty good stuff there. Of course, the Demi-Fiend has Warcry, so we can take this guy's offense down that way. It might be tempting to equip Wadatsumi for this fight to nullify his ice attacks, but I would rather nullify the ailments so that I can purge them on somebody like, say, Arahabaki if he gets nailed with them. He is rather big. And he is insistent that he's going to torture us. But this is his skill, Mirage. It's a mental ailment skill, and oof, that hit multiple people. Let's see here. Actually gonna have Matador just pass there. If I can get a Tarukaja off, that would be nice. Yeah, unfortunately no. We're gonna use a Sacred Water here just to purge the debuff. And now we need to start passing so that I can get around to the Demi-Fiend again and Warcry this guy to get our or his offense down. So once again, we'll pass to the Demi-Fiend and Warcry him. This will take his damage down a bit. I will want to get another Warcry onto him just to get his damage down to a much more acceptable level. Oh, geez, that was very unfortunate. That's not a huge deal, though. Let me see. We can Medea this damage off. Let me see. Pass. Sukukaja. We want to get another Medea in case that Glacial Blast procs 2 hits. I was very unlucky that he critted there. As you can see, when his turn comes around, he only has 1 to work with. So yeah, unfortunately, Karasu, he's not going to be getting any MP for this fight. No, or EXP for this fight, rather. So let's Makakaja, and let's get another demon in to replace him. We'll go with Kikurahime. Eligor could be another choice, just to get some extra damage reduction. I'm a really big fan of Warcry, just because a more popular debuff is Fog Breath, which you learn from Watatsumi, which is a tier 2 evasion and accuracy debuff. However, for hard mode, I actually much prefer Warcry, just because it's perfectly consistent. I can always count on it to do what I need it to. And at this point, we're just going to start buffing everything up, get our magic power up so that I can hit him with powerful fire breaths. The bright side of Kikurahime being in over Karasu is that I can have her take care of healing duty, so the Demi-Fiend doesn't have to do that all his own. And this guy, much like the random enemy versions, he is in fact weak to fire, so we can do that. And we're just going to focus on powering up fire breath as much as possible. We'll have Matador pass this turn, hit him with another Fire Breath. We can use one more before I have to restore my MP. Luckily, I have a Soma Dropper at my disposal. Oh, he actually does have Dekunda. I did not know that. That will make this a little bit more complicated, but nothing I can't handle. So what we'll do is we'll hit him with a Fire Breath. Let's see here. We will hit him, not with Rakunda. We'll just do a slap. We'll hit him with Sukunda. This will bring his accuracy and evasion down a lot. Let's pass. Let's get Soma Droplet onto the Demi-Fiend here. I do have to improvise a bit here, but this fight, he actually does get easier and weaker as you deal damage to him. Ooh, that was spicy. Okay, let me think here. Yeah, let's Diorama there, get that damage off. I better throw another Warcry onto him just to make sure that he doesn't kill me again. And let's see here, we'll throw up a Media just to get everybody's health back up. Yeah, I can't risk, yeah, don't count on that just being your imagination, buddy. That's unfortunate. We want our Habaki to keep contributing, so let's use the Sacred Water. Yeah, I actually did not know this guy had Dekunda at his disposal, so that does kind of throw a wrench into my plan. It might be a wise idea to get Eligor in on the fight, but it shouldn't be necessary at this point. Now we can just focus on beating him down, because he's going to start getting weaker here. As he starts to shrink, the attacks he throws out become a lot less threatening. Yeah, and he's shrinking just more and more. He also does not have very much MP, so if you want to, you can actually run an MP stall strategy on him. Yeah, there you go. He's not going to be using Glacial Blast anymore, so we don't have to worry about that. And that's really the most threatening thing as far as raw damage he can do to you. Now, I do think it's possible for him to open with Glacial Blast, and if that tags the Demi-Fiend twice, that can really throw a wrench into things. But that didn't happen this time, so I didn't really have to worry about it. This fight did not go nearly as clean as I was hoping. And he finally figured it out. Hey, let me see here. Do I have any Maragi rocks in my inventory? As a matter of fact, I do. This will be a lot more effective than just punching him, because the rock items actually do factor in elemental boosts. We'll hit him with another one. May as well use these. You can actually purchase these rocks at Ikebukuro, but I don't really consider that to be worth it. I think they're a little overpriced. So that was a very ugly run of that fight, but we actually beat him, so what's it matter? And we get a new Magatama. This is an upgraded Ice Magatama. It teaches you Glacial Blast. So that can be pretty good if you're running an ice build, and I used to run ice builds just because you get that so much sooner than the other Magatamas that teach you the next levels of spells, but I've reworked my philosophy on that a bit, so we're not going to be seeing Glacial Blast on Demi-Fiend here. Now you may notice there's a bunch of mystical chests here, but we're not going to go grab those at the moment. We're just going to go through here. And this is the man, the myth, the legend, Futomimi. And yeah, we are neither D-Man or Human. Much like how he's neither Kami nor Piccolo. Old school joke. Oh, that must be Isamu. I hope he was spared the torture. And Futomimi, as a prophet, he has a standard psychic pose. And he matched a divine, that is, it is indeed Isamu. Alright. Don't be a stranger. But yeah, let's, before we go forward, I better revive the demons that bought the farm in that fight. Yeah, that was a very, very ugly run of that fight. I genuinely did not know that he had Dekund at his disposal. Had I known that, I definitely would have worked Eligor into the fight so that I could have had him buff us up for our defense, but it's not a huge deal. We won, and that's the important thing. Oh, Isamu, are you learning from Hijiri? Well, what's with that tone of voice? I'm sorry. Are you mad at me? Oh, okay. Are you sure? It seems a little extreme. Looks like Isamu is on the cusp of forming his own reason. I wouldn't recommend going into the Amala network. It is not a safe place by any stretch of the imagination. Well, Isamu throws caution to the wind, and he becomes Web 2.0. But that is unfortunately all we're going to see of Isamu for quite some time. But will we see him again? Oh, hopefully. It would be sad to see our friend die. Now, like I said, more mystical chests here, but we'll get them in the next video. I'll just get the Kagetsuchi up to the proper level. There is some pretty good stuff in there, actually. Okay, where are you heading? Oh gee, I wonder who could that be? Nah, it's just Hijiri. You know, Hijiri has helped us out a bit, but at the same time, it also, on occasion, feels like he's giving us a runaround. Well, we'll go see Hijiri in the next video. Of course, we'll get our treasure first, as rewards for completing Kabukicho Prison. Yeah, not a terribly long dungeon, and a bit of a weird boss, but overall, not too terrible, so let's just save our game here. Alright, we are all saved. Get to see our fun whirling animation of the terminal. And that is where we'll leave this video. When we come back, we will head out to Ginza and meet up with Hijiri, and we'll see where he points us to go next. But that is all for this video. As always, my fellow fiends, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.